A very pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. Hoops in the Hill City. It is round 2 here in Turner Gymnasium. Men's team just came away with the victory versus Randolph, and hey, it's not bad for the main card to be Code Red Knight here at Turner. The Roanoke Maroons taking on the Lynchburg Hornets. Evan Gates alongside Sam Graham. And Sam, we know Roanoke last season, very talented squad. They're coming back with lots of returners hungry to get a win today.
Yeah, and I mean, first things first, I'll just say that the number one thing I like about this Roanoke team is that they have more players from North Carolina than Virginia. Now, in terms of how well they play, it's really irrelevant. It doesn't have much of all to do with the kind of basketball Roanoke's going to play, but, you know, got to represent the home state, right? In terms of the basketball itself, yeah, it's been a little bit surprising, right? I mean, you look down the stat sheet, you know, we got the chance to see Roanoke in this building last year. We know they're good. We know where they finished in the conference last year. It's a really quality team all around, just not a lot of weaknesses within the conference level. But we really did expect Rose Sandy to be a name that jumped out a lot more. And certainly minutes a little bit down from a season ago, but the production's been filled in, right? So, you know, Lauren Keel's a name that we're going to call a lot tonight. She can really do it all for this team. You and I mentioned the other day watching this team play, she reminds us a little bit of Casey Kelly, but certainly, you know, yeah, I mean, there's not much else you can say. She does pretty much everything, offense, defense. There's just really not a lot of holes in her game. And, you know, her and a player like Madison Naru, I know we're not on that segment of our pregame show yet, but from Roanoke, you got to take advantage of those matchups where you have them.
Lots of aggression. Also of note, Roanoke shooting the three better than Lynchburg right now. Lynchburg, a team known for their ability around the perimeter. We'll see how that looks like as we take a look at Evans' gateway to success. And, you know, this is a game that is going to be obviously heavily reliant on the styles of these two teams. Roanoke wants to slow things down, get into their offense. Lynchburg might push a little bit. They have Sarah Brandstetter, who, oh, by the way, was Roanoke's point guard last year. So for Roanoke, it's about dictating pace. You know Lynchburg likes to run, take quality shots, and get those offensive boards, as well as getting to the free throw line. They're shooting 73% there. And Jacqueline DeJess alongside Lauren Keel, both over 80%. For Lynchburg, you have to use the shot clock, quick, crisp passing, and force some slower defenders to get out on the perimeter. And then, obviously, you have to make your free throws and get to the stripe. Lynchburg out-rebounded by 9 and 17 in their losses, so second and third chance points will play a very key role, and also getting fouled. So here on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network, we are super excited for some great action in ODAC basketball.
Yeah, you know, obviously you have the advantage here in the second game. National anthem was played before the first game, so going to stick right here for our pregame show, be able to draw it out a little bit as they're announcing starting lineups down on the floor. Evan, yeah, that was really interesting there. You talk about, you know, dictating the pace if you're Roanoke, and I think when we talk about pace of play, when we talk about tempo, we always think about what you do on offense, right? How fast are you working on offense? How much of the shot clock are you using up? How many people are you getting involved? But it's really ironic because as a team in Roanoke that wants to slow things down offensively, they want to speed you up offensively. And that really takes the place mainly in the form of pressure. They'll pick you up early. Jacqueline DeJess, no matter what the defensive set is, she's going to pick you up right around half court, if not in a full court press, all of her own. So that's something Lynchburg's going to have to be cautious of today. And it's a testament to good coaching, right, for Roanoke, because if you're able, you know your identity, you know that you're going to be patient offensively, you want to get a lot of people touches, you want to explore multiple options on the offensive end. Well, that's great, and it's great to be patient. You're going to get good shots more often than not, but you're not going to get as many of them. So that's where speeding up your opponent comes in, and I think that's what Roanoke does so well. I mean, this is a team that the sky's kind of the limit this year. I mean, this was a good team last year. I really think they can be a great team this year. Losing Sarah Brandstetter, obviously, to our Lynchburg Hornets, that's a big blow, but Jacqueline DeJess has done a great job coming into that point guard role, and we talk about people that can do a little bit of everything. DeJess certainly can, great on both ends of the floor.
Well, and we've seen from Sarah Brandstetter this year, it feels like it took a few games really just to get her wheels under her. We know that she has the experience being a grad student, but it's important just to find your role in a new offense. And with Macy Mullins occupying lots of the point as well, we know Maddie Nimmo not with the team this year for Lynchburg. It's important just to figure out who's going to take those shots. But Code Red Day, it's a great time to figure it out. It's a great matchup with Roanoke that we know at this point of the season, when you see them early, that can help you out along the way, because it's either going to end up being a very big learning lesson or you're going to prove to yourself that you can hang with some of the best.
Yeah, there's no number in the stat sheet for energy, right? I mean, the men's team, we've talked with Coach Scott, they've tried to create one, talk about their woos on the sideline. How many woos can we get? That's 3 consecutive stops. There's not a set stat for it, but energy is going to be a huge piece today, and I don't think you can get around it. You've mentioned it being a Code Red night a couple of times, and that's a big storyline to track, as is the brand statter to Lynchburg. That's also a big one. I mean, shoot, I remember where I was when we got the news that Sarah had transferred here to Lynchburg, and I think I texted you, Evan, like, hey, this is big time, because this is somebody that you and I remember distinctly having an impact when Roanoke came into this gym a year ago. So those are the 2 things that I'm going to be keeping an eye on, that alongside the pace piece that we've talked about already. And then we'll talk about depth as well. Lynchburg, I think, has the potential to have some depth, just waiting to see it on a consistent basis. Roanoke's already there, one of the best benches in the country. So although the starters are good, very quality starting 5, it doesn't end with them.
Absolutely. As we look at the starters for today, Jacqueline DeJess, who we mentioned already, starting at point guard for Roanoke alongside Parker Childress, Lauren Keel, Madison Naru, and Rose Sandy. For Lynchburg and the home whites, it's Macy Mullins, Sarah Brandstatter, Brooke Kaysen, Brees Bainauer, and Darcy Ross. You can't really get your first thought in because Macy Mullins is already activated.
Yeah, that was fantastic. That was just a great case of your starting point guard being ready to have the ball in her hands as soon as the game starts. More often than not, you're trying to set up in the half-court offense. That time it's a 3.
And quick response from Roanoke. We know that Macy Mullins, 39% from 3 last season. She led the ODAC, but this could end up being a shootout despite those percentages that you saw in the pregame show. These are 2 squads that have maybe underperformed from beyond the perimeter.
Well, Lauren Keel overperforming there on the first shot of the day. She knocks it home. Not really known for the 3-point scoring, but like we said, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but she can do it from everywhere.
Lauren Keel is just one of those players who really makes everybody in the lineup a little bit better, and we've seen it the last couple of seasons as she got to the rack. And right there, Rose Sandy showing her own case of getting to the hoop. Led the team in minutes last year for Roanoke. Brandstatter was 2nd, and obviously now an elevated role with Lynchburg as well. So we'll have to keep our eye out. Rose Sandy, this season, she's averaging just 4 points and 2 rebounds, but expect that to climb with how she can play, and especially down the ODAC stretch.
Good move there from Lynchburg, feeling confident in one of your bigs, forwards, that is, Brees Bainauer, to be able to bring the ball up the court, because as we expected, Jacqueline DeJess closing out there on Brandstatter right from the opening jump. Lynchburg gets a little ahead of themselves.
Turnovers all around. Macy Mullins, a dribble just couldn't quite connect on the gimme, and Roanoke will regain possession. Also, an interesting note that both of these teams have a little wrinkle in their starting lineups. We see Darcy Ross starting for Lynchburg, adding a little bit of size. We know Roanoke has a lot of length, and they can work with that. Also, Peyton Kirchner on the other side for Roanoke, a starter you've seen a few times this year who is not in the starting lineup today.
Yeah, I think this is a good game for Darcy Ross. It's a good game, I think, as well. Certainly for Brees Bainauer there, drawing the charge. I think it's also going to be a good game for Kayla Sledge when, I was about to say win an F. We will see her, when she checks into the game. I think you speak about energy as well. It's somebody who can get the crowd going. The bigs for Lynchburg are going to have to step up a little bit. That was a big point of emphasis in the offseason, was developing and then bringing in some new bodies there at the forward positions, and Lynchburg's going to need to lean on that.
Great to have Brees Bainauer back from volleyball season as well. Saw some zone pressing from Roanoke, that 1-2-1-1. They'll run that a few times, but nice passing by the Hornets. It looks like it clipped off Sandy, so the Hornets will keep possession under the basket.
Yeah, how about Coach Flaherty here? Throwing a little bit of everything at us on defense. Last year was primarily a 1-3-1 zone. You want to talk about unique. This year, a lot more man-to-man, just kind of relying on the athleticism and skill of her defensive unit. And then, throwing some zone in there as well. I mean, you're just keeping your opponents guessing.
College game, you don't always see that, especially with zone defense. And it's a very heavily man style of game. But we know that Roanoke can throw a little bit of everything, and when Jacqueline DeJess is at the top, or at least in that play, she can really just force you to make those quick decisions.
Late whistle there on the last play, but double dribble there. Mental error if you're Roanoke, just kind of wasting away a possession. We mentioned already they're not going to have a ton. opportunity to get one back.
Lauren Keel in transition. Going to go up and under, just couldn't get the finish. And Brandstatter always looking to run. Kaysen will just try and slow things down for this offense. This is an offense that, as we said, has struggled a little bit shooting-wise to start the season, but still finding their identity. Lots of guard play, lots of players who can bring it up the court. And when Bree Spainhour comes back, she is always going to have a big impact.
Great possession there for Lynchburg. Started out 5 out around the perimeter. Let everybody get their bearings, get set in the half-court offense. And then eventually you pivot Bree Spainhour down low. She's ready for the pass, capitalizes on the shot.
Have to be ready when you're shooting, as Brandstatter wants to travel. She's going to get it. Great defense as we see Parker Childress just try to go up. She has no room, and now a very welcome sight for Lynchburg. It's the return of Olivia Harris.
Evan, we're getting spoiled with all these three-point blocked shots. I mean, you felt like you never even heard about those until Victor Wembanyama came into the NBA. No, I think we've seen 3 in our last 3 games now on the men and women's side.
Macy Mullins trying to throw a dart at the board unsuccessfully. Roanoke in transition. We know DeJess can run. Tries to just run into Brandstatter, and it's going to be a foul. We'll have to see. No, it will not. It'll be out of bounds, excuse me. So Lynchburg will get another opportunity. That's maybe the coolest battle we get to see, not only tonight, but all season. A point guard going against the successor. We know that Brandstatter and DeJess really occupied that spot last year at Roanoke, so you have to think there are a few tricks up their sleeves tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, weird kind of situation there. It did look like the travel happened before the contact. Obviously, that is what happened. First call was a foul, but yeah, to continue that point, I think this is my favorite backcourt setup here that Lynchburg can roll out, capitalizing on it again. Same spot for Macy Mullins.
The shooter from Gate City showing us again that she is dominant on the perimeter. It seems like every time that she can spot up, a good thing will happen for this Lynchburg defense, but Roanoke going to reverse it. The response of their own from Kate Littlejohn.
The forgotten woman there on the far side. Lynchburg, a decent job getting back as Roanoke actually elected to push the pace a bit there after the make. But again, you got to make sure you man up with everybody.
Very interesting battle. We see Lynchburg spreading out the offense, forcing Roanoke to spread out their defense, but that will open up potential offensive rebounds. Long shot and long rebound as we see a slew of substitutions. Casey Kelly enters the game for for Lynchburg. For Roanoke, it is number 11, Ingrid Marias, and number 15, Alexa Kulikowski.
Yeah, DeJess and Sandy hitting the bench, both of them, so decent bit of production there. Taking a seat right now for Roanoke. We've already mentioned, though, the depth of this bench certainly can find production in a variety of places, but we'll note as well Keel on the bench right now, too.
Have to take advantage of those situations. Here's Kirchner who goes up and can't get it to go. As we said, she has cracked the starting lineup a few times to enter this season as well. Casey Kelly, a little misdirection to the corner. Olivia Harris couldn't find the spot, but Lynchburg maintains possession. Working down low. Second chance, no good. It seemed like Casey Kelly had more space than she anticipated. And the Hornets back again, lots of disruption.
Yeah, great pair of possessions there, hauling down a rebound on each side of the floor there for Darcy Ross. And then Sarah Brandstatter, this is about the best we've seen her look, especially defensively. She has certainly come to play against her former team.
Fantastic pass from Mullins and Harris. How about the stroke and the stride after as Lynchburg up 3 in the early going, and we might be in for a shootout.
Welcome back to the party, Olivia Harris. She's been the leading scorer for this Lynchburg team each of the past 2 seasons. Got a few more options out there offensively this year. Sarah Brandstatter, another pick.
Off to the races as Brandstatter, Casey Kelly, everything but the finish. And about as easy of a read as you're going to get. It just couldn't come to fruition. And Kirchner on the other side tried to make what would have been a 5-point swing.
Lynchburg glad to see that 3 not drop because they whiffed on a big-time opportunity in terms of ease on the other end.
Another pass, this time Harris to Mullins. Can't finish. Down the court, it's a nice pass that sails over, and Naru unable to finish.
Yeah, good job getting back there by Olivia Harris. You know, she gets back quickly, nearly breaks up that pass before it reaches the intended recipient. But Yeah, that's one of those moments where if you're a Lynchburg fan, you might be left scratching your head a little bit thinking, well, you know, we kind of felt like they wanted to slow it down. You know, that's sort of where they thrive, and now you get into this little bit of a track meet, and it's like, oh, wow, they can do it that way too. You know, this is a multifaceted Roanoke team, and they've shown that so far. It is Lynchburg with the early lead, capitalizing on the 3-ball a decent bit early on.
So many questions to be answered. We'll step away for a brief moment and be right back on Code Red Night 11-8 Hornets on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network.
Think a private education is too expensive? Think again. At the University of Lynchburg, you can get a personalized education for the cost of a state school. If you're commuting and you get our top scholarships, you could pay much less. And you get all that without the hassle of giant lecture halls. Our faculty know your name here and do more than just teach. You might even do research together and plan out your next career moves.
So glad you're joining us here on a fantastic Wednesday night. Cold temperatures outside. Cold might be an understatement. It has been frigid in central Virginia, but now a little bit of a warmer feel in the gym, and both teams have been hot to start. Naru misses the front half, shooting 2 shots out of the media break. And Naru, one of those returners for Roanoke that we're going to talk about all night long. It just seems like they have so much experience across the court this time. Late deflection will roll out of bounds, and Roanoke will retain.
Lynchburg sends in Taylor Brown, try and combat some of the size. Imagine she'll match up with Naru if Lynchburg stays in this man. That's looking like it right now, matching up in anticipation of the inbounds pass. Now an interesting chess move here on the other side. Coach Flaherty sending Lauren Keel back in, and now Brown quickly switches back over because that might be a bit of a mismatch. Now Lynchburg dropping into a little bit of a zone.
Well, if you're Keel, especially on the offensive end, you want to test Brown as much as possible. We know that while she has been sensational as a freshman, always different looks. As we saw the switch, this time a miss from DeJess. She will shoot from almost anywhere on the court.
Yeah, Lynchburg, good possession overall. They're keeping their composure, making Roanoke use pretty much all of the shot clock, and that was after a bad break, trying to save that ball in bounds. Macy Mullins, man, she's heating up.
Money Mullins doing it again, and Lynchburg up 6. Just seems like if you could keep finding number 3 in white, good things are going to happen. Lots of perimeter passing and forcing Roanoke to step out and defend.
We were talking before the game, Evan. This is one of those games where it sounds simplified, but it's one where Lynchburg, if that 3-ball starts falling, that's something you really need to lean on, and it's a big key that you can't really account for if you're Roanoke. Obviously, defensively, you can control a lot of stuff too, but this is one of those games where you really want the 3 to be falling, so that's a good sign early on, especially from Macy Mullins, but we've gotten one from Olivia Harris as well, so we'll see if Brooke Kaysen can get going. It's always 3 or 4 shooters on the floor for Lynchburg, so try to lean on that right now while it's falling. Try to build up a lead.
Well, sometimes you can cover up a few of the problems on the stat sheet. Lynchburg right now is shooting just 57% from the free throw line, but when you're shooting threes, getting lots of makes and setting up your defense, you don't have to worry about the stripe. And Brooke Kaysen, another one of those 3 shooters who is on and ready to fire.
Great possession offensively for Lynchburg. I thought when Macy Mullins got the ball top of the key, she was going to go ahead and shoot it. Couple extra passes. Brooke Kaysen was wide open in the far wing. We saw it with Roanoke already. There we see it again. That forgotten man on the far wing, a trend early on today. So far, teams have been making the other team pay. That was the first time it didn't materialize.
Lots of energy pulsing through this Lynchburg bench right now. You get an early lead. Maybe you can just keep holding on. We've seen lots of good starts from the men's team this year, but Lynchburg's women's squad trying to emulate some of that success. Kayla Terry at the point guard position. A lot of play there against Salisbury. It was a successful 2-0 run at the tournament at Washington and Lee.
Yeah, I mean, it's just nice to see them at home again, right? It's been so long. I mean, that Bob Jones game feels like about forever ago, and so it's just great to have the ladies back here playing on their home court, and what better way to welcome yourselves back in than with the Code Red.
Keel tried to insert the pass down low. Bodies everywhere, and who else than Casey Kelly comes up with it. Now looking to run. DeJess trying to get the trap on the side. Kaysen, extra pass to Casey Kelly. It's going to hit the front rim and out. And that track race might be resuming. A little bit of everybody getting out on the go. Extra pass to DeJess in the corner. That's like clockwork. She will make you pay anywhere.
Yeah, Lynchburg, obviously it's hard when you're getting out in transition sometimes to find every single person, but yeah, that's where you kind of have to slow this thing down, because time and time again, Lynchburg is neglecting to find one person, maybe even two, on the break, and Roanoke can make you pay if you give them enough opportunities.
Brandstatter missed three. Lynchburg tried to trap. Ball will just trickle out of bounds. It's going to be a substitution as Bree Spainauer will re-enter for Taylor Brown. 49 seconds left in this first quarter. Has been lots of energy. We know these squads both coming off very strong wins. Roanoke beat Gallaudet by 36 in their last contest, and the Lynchburg getting it done versus Salisbury and hoping to keep the momentum. Kelly going to try and get out on the drive as Lynchburg looks to reverse. Kaysen again. It seems like everything that goes up will come down and through the net.
Yeah, there have been a few things that haven't gone right, maybe a few things that didn't go the way you drew them up if you're Lynchburg. The three ball is the great equalizer. That's falling right now, and again, like we said, that can cover up some stuff. I think moving into the second quarter, got to just lock things in defensively, but you're going to have a lead.
Little John made the three in retaliation, and it seems like every single step Lynchburg takes, Roanoke is following closely. So we've got a barn burner on our hands after one quarter of action. Lynchburg up 6. We're going to stay right here for a very special announcement from our PA announcer, Tim LaDuca.
Yeah, some representation here today. Yeah, something really cool for May White, one of our swimmers here at Lynchburg. She was competing at the Pan Paralympic Games this, I believe it was a week-long affair, sort of this past week and weekend. You see her walking out onto the court with not just one, multiple medals around her neck. So just a really awesome moment for her, and just really cool moment for the school and the athletic department as well.
May White, one of the athletes at Lynchburg, who always just comes out and shows what sports are about. She has been sensational.
A gold and a bronze there for May White, and obviously a member of this Lynchburg swimming team as well. It's a Lynchburg swim team that's really gotten things going again over the past several years. Revitalization of the program under their coach Brad Dunn, who you saw there with White at midcourt. Just an awesome guy there, Coach Dunn. Good program, good people, taking care of business in the pool. And right now, women's basketball taking care of business on their home court. Just got to try and keep these fans in this game, try to get the energy up a little bit. Still kind of waiting for the sidelines to truly come alive like we know they can. So a couple more of those threes ought to do the trick.
Well, now a fresh 10 minutes, and you follow a men's game with a women's game. You understand the importance of that extra break. After the first 10 in the second quarter, you can really start something new in the huddle, but Lynchburg just trying to keep that momentum going as ball tipped out of bounds from Childress, and the Hornets will take over.
Good start to the second quarter. Really doesn't matter, moving forward how you get the stops. Just get the stops, limit the Roanoke possessions. That slower pace of play, it's even more important to get those stops. Brooke Kaysen heating up.
You can't go long without seeing another Lynchburg three. It just seems like every time they come up the court, they are looking to shoot and fire right away. Now 6 for 10 on the day. No, 7 for 11 on the day. We know Macy Mullins has been hot. Brooke Kaysen joining the party. Foul will be on the floor. Caught on Bree Spainhour. Spainhour is leading this team in points, and get this, she's only played a few games coming back after volleyball season, as we said, but averaging 13.3 a game and shooting 63% from the field. Boy, has she been efficient.
Interesting number to watch early on. You know, Lynchburg, 11 of its 19 field goals have come from deep. We kind of expected to see that, but we did not necessarily expect to see 8 of Roanoke's 10 field goal attempts coming from deep, and all of their field goal makes have been from long range.
Keel missed an easy one. Clap of the hands as Lynchburg returns back down the floor, and that might be a positive sign for the Hornets. If they can get Roanoke to play a little more of a Lynchburg type of game, you think if we can get them to really get away from the paint, could be a good sign as Casey Kelly will return.
Bree Spainhour going to check out, so going a tad smaller here is Lynchburg. Mullins, same spot.
Every time, it's just efficiency at its finest, and Macy Mullins continuing to heat up. We said it's cold outside and it's hot in the gym. There might be a campfire by the end of this one.
We said the far wing may belong to Cam O'Connor. Far corner, that is. I think the near wing on the right side might belong to Macy Mullins.
Might have to get the patent by the end. Roanoke, nice cut inside. It was a great dish from Keel. Naru just couldn't finish, and on both sides, some of the easy ones getting by.
That's one you hate to miss because it's one of those plays that you can't even draw up. You just have to have the player to do it. I guess be able to continue our thought here with the ball wedged there in the rim. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's not really something you draw up. It's like we have a player that can do this, and that's a two-way street. You know, Naru, great cut, and a perfect pass from Keel. So you hate that one's left a bit short, but you still applaud the effort.
Roanoke, a team that likes to cut. They have an offense that allows everyone to get involved, and they do a great job of finding the open player down low. You'll see Lauren Keel on lots of cuts in this offense, just trying to get to the dish, as Lynchburg will have it under their basket. 7:54 in the second quarter, and now up 12, hitting everything they shoot. As we see Darcy Ross, high post, the spin, and a confident-looking shot, just couldn't finish, and off Brandstatter will be Roanoke basketball.
Good take there by Ross. It was a confident take. You're not going to hit them all. It's not an easy shot, but I still like the idea. And just like you think about it in football terms. If you're a defense, you want to throw a lot of different looks at a team. You don't want to just settle into zone. You don't want to just settle into man. It's a similar thing with basketball. I know the three-point shot's falling really well right now for Lynchburg, and you hope that continues. But you also don't want to just settle and marry yourself to the three, because 8 of 12 is awesome. 8 of 12 is likely not going to continue the whole way through. So you want to make sure you keep Roanoke guessing. That's how you're going to keep getting those open looks.
Well, that's what Roanoke tries to do on the other side. It's Littlejohn fouled and will go to the line for 2. Lynchburg coming off a performance where they scored a season-high 74 points. And so you understand the offense has to be multifaceted, not just three-point shooting. They shot over 50% from the field that game, so obviously that goes a long way in trying to get the W. But tonight, very tough test, and you have to imagine that even if Roanoke trails going into the second half, they have a run or two in store.
And I like this from Roanoke, too. You know, Lynchburg's not going to take a ton of free throws throughout the course of this game, just by virtue of where they're taking the majority of their shots. We'll pull up the shot chart at the halftime break, just interested to see it. But on the other side for Roanoke, you're a team that can get to the line. That's well within your game plan. It might get to the line again here.
Kate Littlejohn trying to fire through the lane. It's going to be a foul on Macy Mullins, who lost it for the turnover. These are two teams that both shoot about the same clip of free throws, 11.5 per game, but as we said, Roanoke shooting 16% better on the stat sheet, so certainly could be a difference maker today. 4 of 6 with Littlejohn at the line for 2.
Yeah, and think about the personnel out there for Lynchburg right now. Darcy Ross, the only true forward or big out there for Coach Nichols' squad. So if you're Roanoke, pound the paint right now. It's the byproduct of putting your shooters out there. Typically your shooters are your guards or maybe your wings, but you know, that means there's a mismatch on the defensive end, and it's probably going to be down low. You got Naru on the floor right now. You've got some size. If you're Roanoke, you got to take advantage.
And if you need that quick shot, Jacqueline DeJess is just a pass away. Macy Mullins had to watch her foot with the backcourt violation. Nothing called. Lynchburg trying to take advantage. You see that 5-out motion. Lots of cuts around the perimeter. Trying to dish and find who's open. Olivia Harris in the lane. A little floater and a clinical response as Lynchburg's up 10.
Whew, Harris taking a big chunk of that contact. I think they're going to get her for the foul. It's a little bit going both ways. Yeah, it looked like she might have gotten going a little bit fast on that last possession. Obviously, good basket, good job getting inside. That's not in the scouting report, as obviously she tends to take the 3 ball. So going inside's a good mismatch for her. But certainly got to watch those feet. Coach Flaherty was all over it there on the sideline, and I tend to hate to agree with the opposing team sometimes, but I think she might have had a case there, so just something to keep an eye on.
Always tough to really judge when to take that charge as well. Mentioned Coach Flaherty in her 10th season at Roanoke, and she has been very good in her tenure as the Maroons have just continued to be conference contenders these last few years. We see a loose ball foul, and Coach Flaherty reached the 2020-2021 ODAC championship where Roanoke lost to Lynchburg, so very distant rematch from that game in Salem.
Yeah, it was a great year for Lynchburg. It was my freshman year here. Really good season for that squad. Just had a lot of just veterans, and I think although that season was awesome, then those veterans graduate, they move on, and it left a couple holes on this roster. And Lynchburg got up to a great start 2 years ago. Had some untimely injuries, notably to Sammy Sever, and that derailed the season a tad going down the stretch. Still finished really respectable, still made the ODAC tournament and all that good stuff. But then last year, just a super young team. Sever was still out of the lineup for the majority of the season. So I think just finding their identity. It's a team that picked things up down the stretch a little bit, got hot for a period of 5 or 6 games there, middle of the ODAC portion of the schedule. So, they've been able to hit the ground running a little more this year.
Casey Kelly trying to get into the lane. It's going to be a charge called. And Naru getting down and doing the dirty work as Roanoke will take over. We've seen this Lynchburg sophomore class that has 8 athletes on this team right now. Ashley Vandergrift not even playing right now. She's been hurt the last little bit, and so you have so many options, but obviously the exclamation mark on that class is the shooting and the shooting from the perimeter, that they continue to operate at a high level.
Absolutely. Look now, as we are going inside again. It's a great job by Roanoke, but right now Lynchburg's still hanging on to this 9-point lead. The offense has cooled down a tad here in the second quarter, but Evan, we talked about it before the game even started. I think before we even went on the air, getting out to a hot start was going to be crucial for Lynchburg's cause. They've done that, and now you have this buoy of sorts, so that if the shooting does cool off a little bit, you're okay. You can afford a couple possessions that don't go perfectly, and I think that's going to come up big time in the second half if they can keep the Maroons sort of at arm's length for the final 5.5 minutes.
Certainly can play with confidence while ahead. This could be a 5-minute period that dictates much of this ball game. If Roanoke can equalize and go into the locker room feeling pretty good about themselves, we know they have those runs in store and the veteran presence to do so. Lynchburg serving, this time a 3 from Sarah Brandstatter. It's turning into a 3-point contest here in Turner.
Yeah, but I like that. She stepped into it with confidence. I know it's kind of early in the shot clock, but that's a decent look. I think that's one you're happy with. Obviously, you're happy with it because it goes in. And it's a big shot, too. Pushes the lead back out to 10 because right now this is not a comeback attempt by Roanoke, but a couple more baskets, and that's what you're looking at in the second half.
Rose Sandy taking advantage down low, and it seems like the Maroons just ready to respond at any moment as Sammy Sever will enter the ball game. Olivia Harris exits, and just one of those plays from Sandy so composed down low. You don't have to do too much. Just get to the spot and execute the little things.
All 5 fouls this period going against Lynchburg. 9 team fouls now for the game, and these are going to be would have been the 13th free throw of the game for Roanoke. I guess it was the 13th free throw. We're trying to earn the 14th as well. 9 of 13 at the line, so for the most part capitalizing on it. But got to get things going a little bit from the field itself here soon. One of their last 4 now is Roanoke on the floor, and just don't feel like they have a ton of rhythm right now on offense.
And Sam, a point of notice, no free throws for Lynchburg so far. We'll have to see if that changes. Sarah Brandstatter picked up the ball prematurely and will be caught for the travel. Kayla Sledge enters the contest, replacing Darcy Ross. We talked about her early in this contest. We knew she would be coming in, but one of the tougher, very commanding presences on this team.
Yeah, Sledge, kind of plays her own brand of basketball, and I don't say that is that it's doesn't, match with what this team does. I mean it absolutely as a compliment. It just adds something different to the floor. She's not going to spot up for 3. She's going to command the paint. She brings a lot of energy, so I think it's always good anytime you get her in the game.
Macy Mullins in transition. Just lost it. And we've seen a few scrambles now as Roanoke finally able just to slow it down. Madison Naru says, well, I will run with it. And now just trying to get this offense to operate. We've seen a little bit of a dry spell. 1 for their last 5 is Roanoke, and now a traveling violation.
Travel starting to go both ways. Had one against Brandstatter a moment ago. They get it against Kiel going right there, and that brings us to our media timeout.
So we'll take another break. Exciting start, and just 4:26 left in the first half right here from Turner Gymnasium.
Living the dream. USA, Mexico. That was so exciting.
Want to have some outdoor adventures while getting a degree at the same time? At the University of Lynchburg, we have an on-campus zip line and ropes course. Plus, we offer adventure trips that cost less than a cup of coffee. And did I mention our beautiful scenery? We're a university for students looking for something more than just books. Welcome to your new adventure experience.
Tim Slusser from the Outdoor Leadership Program gave a presentation at a teaching and learning
during the break,
resources
we had a
conference.
chance to get reacquainted with our good old friend, the stat sheet, and discovered just 1 offensive rebound so far in this contest, and it belongs to Lynchburg. Maybe one of the reasons they have found success being able to defend this Maroon squad that lives inside at times. Roanoke still searching for their first, but they've also had the makes to accompany it. Another miss as Sandy trying to get into the lane. This time it will be a foul going the other way. Lynchburg will keep the ball.
Took a while to get those fouls stacking up against Roanoke. Now, a couple of quick ones. Still a decent ways from the bonus, but Lynchburg at least making them feel you a little bit, drawing some contact, getting physical.
Irony on that last possession as Roanoke picked up its first offensive rebound, but Lynchburg trying to search for a bucket. A lineup right now with essentially 3 point guards around the perimeter. So you know every shot and every pass a possibility of trying to get one in the rim. Foul called on Roanoke's number 11, Ingrid Marias.
Just about a perfect possession there defensively for Roanoke. I think they kind of made Brandstatter second guess herself, stuck there at the top of the key a bit, puts it on the floor, and then I hate to use the term bail her out, but a little bit dead. I'm not sure if that possession was necessarily going anywhere. Now you look at it, 20-second reset on the shot clock. Lynchburg's got a chance to do something.
Correction on the last foul. It goes to number 22, Lauren Keel, and certainly a situation where Lynchburg can capitalize. Late in this second quarter, Kayla Terry, just a bit of a blind shot going to the hoop. It'll be Roanoke basketball.
That was a really close call. I thought Kayla Sledge did knock that off of the Roanoke pair of defenders there closing in on it. It'd be Roanoke basketball, is what it is. Close call. Been several of those here in the first half.
See if the Maroons can capitalize. Naru had the size advantage back outside, and 3 off the mark. Finally, Sever corrals. Lynchburg still continuing to really dictate the pace of this ball game, as we said early in the pregame show. Something you have to do against these strong ODAC teams. Terry forces a pass. Goes all the way to Olivia Harris. Now trying to get to the bucket. She just ran into traffic. It's going to be a travel. Lots of traveling today. Might be able to make the trip all the way back to Salem if we see a few more.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. Yeah, Evan, it's gonna cut deep a little bit there. Evan coming for blood up here. Yeah, no, but I mean, you're right, Evan, and it's those miscues that you really want to try to avoid because they're self-inflicted. Obviously, it's very hard to have a basketball game where you don't turn the ball over at all. But the thing is that the defense's job is to try and force you, to miss a shot, but even better is to force you to not even take a shot. Helping them out by, the mental errors, if it's stepping out of bounds or just, getting a little too excited and traveling. Those are things that have, almost run Lynchburg out of games before, killed momentum, ended, runs. You don't want to have that happen. You have an 8-point lead right now, and Roanoke's had some errors of their own, so it's going both ways. It's still pretty early season. We have to remind ourselves of that. But, yeah, you just want to make sure you can avoid as many of those self-inflicted troubles as you can.
Well, in all fairness, Lynchburg very fortunate to be shooting at the rate that they are because Roanoke still hasn't played terribly today. 12 turnovers, maybe the stat to watch as this second half unwinds out of the break, but still 2 minutes to go. And nice move around to get the bucket. It's number 20, Parker Childress.
Mullins had her scouting report ready there on Childress. First time down the court, forced her to go to her left. Childress kind of almost looked confused by it, stopped dead in her tracks, but in the second effort was able to go to her right, and then you see it's effective, gets the basket in close.
Olivia Harris stop and pop, unsuccessful. This time, same battle that we see. It's a nice pass into traffic. Who wants it? Will be a jump ball, and Roanoke will maintain possession. Substitution as Sarah Brandstatter re-enters this contest. Brandstatter in the last game almost on triple-double watch. She had 8 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists. And talking to Coach Nichols beginning of the season, we knew that Brandstatter is one of those players who can go out and affect every stat category, but that was a very nice performance.
Yeah, I really think she's going to get one before the year's up. The better question is, who's going to get one first? Her, Jake Hart, or Pearson Young? I think those are the three you really got to watch between the men's and women's teams here. Good shot there for Roanoke.
Flushing the three is Rose Sandy. We know her down low. She can also put in the work on the perimeter. Cross-court pass. Lynchburg still operating in that 4-out offense. We see some movement down low. This time, Sever. And a foul called before she could get to the bucket.
Yeah, Sandy on that last three. That takes her up to 7 points today. So certainly getting some of that more typical production, if you want to look at last year's numbers now, is Roanoke. And all of a sudden, that lead has been cut in half. It is quickly down to 4. Lynchburg's led by as many as 12. But Roanoke now going into the half, Lynchburg's going to need to find a couple more baskets.
That's what the good teams can do. They can just crawl back and stay close enough. Eventually the shots will fall. Naru under the basket, pass outside. Another three that's just off the mark. Now 4 of 9 on the day are the Maroons. Mid-range, count it.
None of that's possible without the Sandy offensive rebound. I think they might have heard you. Now a pair of offensive boards. A good heads-up play there. Watch out down low. Mr. Victor Newman, that camera taking the blindside hit from the ball. And you see our very own Caroline Gerke shielding her camera a little bit. Cameras beware down there. Up close and personal.
You know it. Interesting. Victor Newman, one of the photographers for these games, and Vic Newman on the women's soccer squad. We know that every sports team in the house to take in the action tonight, Code Red, where every sports team comes to watch. Travel called before the shot, and so Lynchburg will have the final possession of the first half and a chance to make it a two-possession ball game going into the locker room as Macy Mullins comes back out. I have a feeling that Coach Nichols wants to maybe get her open for a shot.
You talk about self-inflicted errors. That's a big-time costly one. Roanoke kind of had the opportunity to really dictate how this first half was going to end, maybe even take the lead. Instead, Lynchburg can push it out.
And it's going to be another travel caught on Brooke Kaysen this time. So referees really watching, and we have seen a lot. You might see a look or two from them. Almost surprised they have been calling them at that rate, but haven't seen any that have been bad calls, just trying to maintain discipline as Roanoke will now have the final shot. 2-point lead for Lynchburg. The trap in the corner, and just a shot from Littlejohn. It hits the shot clock, nothing doing. And overall, a back and forth first half that Lynchburg really had momentum throughout. And now just a 2-point lead entering the locker room. So we will take a quick break. We'll have halftime stats and analysis on the other side. 60 minutes of our doubleheader underway, just one half to go, and it's going to be an exciting one. So join us on the other side on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network.
Tim Slusser from the Outdoor Leadership Program gave a presentation at a Teaching and Learning Resources Conference here about getting his program more involved on the academic side of campus. I mentioned computers and mapping, and he mentioned caving, and eventually we came up with the idea of mapping caves.
So the week before, we were able to learn how to use the instruments kind of like on a flat surface and just kind of get a hang of how they work. But it was really amazing how once we got in the cave, it was a completely different experience using them.
It was unique. It got most of us out of our comfort zone, kind of gave us a new experience, a new taste of something new. But I think the most difficult parts were getting the lighting right. You had to read the instruments with the headlamps while keeping your eye pointed on the plot point.
This allowed them to actually literally get their hands dirty, collecting data, conducting measurements, and putting all that together in the form of a map, and doing it in a place that's never been mapped before.
biggest thing that I've taken from Westover is probably my interactions with faculty. I started working with Dr. Fryer. He's always available for help, and he makes sure that I get to do the experiments and not just be there while he does them. I didn't want to limit myself when I came here to just taking the prereqs for med school. I wanted to get a full, well-rounded education, and I definitely found that in the Westover program. It's given me the opportunity to keep playing soccer at a competitive level, but also it's given me the ability to be a student and to pursue other activities such as EMS. "100% do Westover because it's not something they're going to regret, and it's going to be a lot of work, but so is everything else. It's just going to help build their education that they've already had and make them a better person for it."
When you come to the University of Lynchburg to earn a master's degree in athletic training, you'll spend time in the classroom, but you'll also spend a lot of time in our top-notch facilities learning from athletic trainers and working closely with our student athletes. In the Graduate Cadaver Lab, you'll learn about the human body in the best way possible, by actually studying the human body. This will provide a foundation to make you a much better athletic trainer. In the Athletic Training Laboratory, you'll get hands-on experience, practicing your skills, applying concepts from the classroom, and working with faculty on research projects. It's also where our hydrotherapy facilities are. This space is also used by students for studying and practicing skills outside of class time. In the Sports Medicine Clinic and Turner Gymnasium, you'll work with student athletes from more than 20 NCAA Division III sports teams, helping get them back to practice and into the game as soon as possible. As an athletic training student, you're a big part of the success of our sports teams and the success of the local athletic teams. We see this relationship as a win-win situation. You learn, and that helps us win.
We've got a very exciting second half in stores. You see Macy Mullins, 12 points, all on three-pointers. And on the other end, Roanoke has been responding with threes of their own, shooting 4 for 9 so far. But as you see, number 30 on your screen, Kate Littlejohn, also in double figures with 11. And Sam, we've seen this matchup back and forth, but it's going to be very important in this third quarter just to get some momentum, because it seemed like with 23 total turnovers in this game, no one could really just grab a hold of those last few minutes.
I think these two teams each have a little too much momentum, and by that I mean they can't slow down. They're just running too fast downhill all the time. And, you know, it's interesting because you would think with as much running as we've had on both ends, we'd have a bunch of fast break points and a lot of capitalization, but only 3 fast break points combined between these two teams. And the biggest reason for that is that we've got 11 turnovers against Lynchburg. We got 14 against Roanoke. That's 25 combined between the two. I mean, it's just been a sloppy game, for lack of a better term, and so many of those turnovers have been unforced. I mean, Roanoke has 4 steals, so that leaves 7 turnovers unaccounted for Lynchburg. On the other side, Lynchburg's been a little better at forcing turnovers. They do have 7 steals, so that's a good point of emphasis. Sarah Brandstatter's got 4 of them herself. So that's half of the turnovers for Roanoke, but again, 7 unaccounted for on each side. I think that's something that's got to be shored up.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see as we come out of the break, because Lynchburg is coming off a performance that was very strong, shot 50% from the field, 36% from 3. So an example of just how lethal this offense can be, and it came alive in that first quarter. But we know that Roanoke has the talent to really come out and put on a show, and Lynchburg still has yet to draw a free throw. So that will be interesting to watch, and obviously just an example of their perimeter play.
Yeah, they've yet to draw a free throw, and their last field goal was at the 5:39 point of the first half. So 5.5 minutes there to close things out without a point of any kind. Obviously, it's good that you build up the lead. We talked about that in the first half, because then you have that safety net. Well, now the safety net's been used. It's a 2-point game, and it might as well be darn close to even here with half of the game remaining. So now you got to kind of approach it just like you would at the beginning of the game, and Lynchburg did a very good job of that. And Evan, it's a pop quiz for you. How did Lynchburg do a good job there at the beginning of the game, scoring all their points?
Well, they really spread the floor, but I mean, it's, you know, I'm thinking the three-pointer was open. We see, you know, this Hornets squad, I mean, they just, it's almost like you find it contagious when you get Brooke Kaysen and Macy Mullins behind the perimeter, but I think the Roanoke has something that they're just waiting to show as we come into this third quarter.
Yeah, Evan, I mean, I already knew that you were smart, but you aced the pop quiz. It's the 3. The 3 was falling, I mean, fantastic. They were nearly to 10. They had 9 threes with about, I think, 6 or 7 minutes left in the second quarter. They barely took another 3 after that. I mean, I understand it sometimes, you know, we say you don't want to get married to the 3, but this is a great three-point shooting team, and they were shooting some of the best they've shot all season in that first half. Sometimes you'll see a team shy away from it once they start to not fall, or once there's a big defensive adjustment to where you're not getting a ton of open looks and you feel like you're having to force them. That I understand. I don't think there was a big change in how Roanoke presented their defense there in the latter stages of that second half. Lynchburg just started to look for other ways to score. So I think coming out of the break, as simple as it sounds, get back to the 3 ball. It's not advice that I would always give a team coming out of a break. But in this particular case, I think that's where Lynchburg was making its money, and we said it the other day, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think that applies in a big way here.
Might need the Sam Graham quotation on that. We are just minutes away from the second half. We'll take one more quick break and return on the other side. 31-29 Hornets here in Turner.
rough day. Jess and I are officially on a break. The couple canoe has broken up.
How you feeling?
Living the dream.
Just canoeing. That's the Mexican side behind me. The U.S. is that way.
So far, we're all still alive.
I really want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Woo! We did it! Kind of.
When creating a sustainable future, your choices matter, even your choice of a college. The University of Lynchburg is the first college in Virginia to go carbon neutral. Our dining hall is Green Restaurant certified. We compost all of our food waste and purchase our electricity from landfill gas. Now we're turning a hazardous lake into a thriving urban wetland. When you choose Lynchburg, you leave a smaller footprint while building a better tomorrow.
It's time for 20 more minutes of women's basketball here in the ODAC. Lynchburg on top by 2 points, and a Roanoke team who is certainly not afraid of coming back in this second half and making a run. 6th in the nation in bench points, and they have 13 already. So even if the starters aren't necessarily finding the hoop, they have options. And Sam, as you said early on, depth is always a positive.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously Roanoke did itself some favors. A big second quarter there, especially the last 5.5 minutes, holding Lynchburg scoreless and being aided by a couple of self-inflicted turnovers. So they were able to cut into most of that lead, almost all of it in that second quarter. That sets them up really well in the second half.
Well, energy will be interesting to watch. We wonder what Coach Flaherty goes over in the locker room. Those 15 minutes can be so crucial. But turnovers, something that will have to change, and Lynchburg already coming out with a little bit of poise. Roanoke takes it right back. Here's Madison Naru.
Yeah, Kaysen just, literally had the ball just taken right away from her there. Didn't really see Naru coming. I guess nobody called it out around her, and it's an unfortunate turnover. It's a steal that was probably a lot easier than it should have been.
Well, Rose Sandy, another three-pointer, and obviously not known for perimeter shooting. She is a player who enjoys being in that post, and this offense can kind of work around, but certainly comfortable with taking the shot. Back down in the post. Here's Sandy again. Options inside. Naru, nice move right around Darcy Ross, and now Roanoke up 3 quickly.
Naru's so good at getting her defenders quickly onto her back hip. That's not an easy move to do. She's got it down master. That was one of the first things that stood out in the film, in the tape, if you will, about her, and she did it there.
A little bit of hustle in Lynchburg's offense this time. Macy Mullins off the mark, and Roanoke pressing with that man defense full court. We've seen those different looks, and you know they're going to throw some stuff that's deep in the playbook, with lots of options and also lots of offensive moves. Sandy back in the corner. Shot clock at 10. As Keel's going to back down, and just too easy down low for Brooke Kaysen, and Coach Nichols wants a timeout.
Yeah, big mismatch there for Keel, and, she's a good player. Good players know when they have a mismatch, and they take advantage of it accordingly. She was patient, didn't get in a rush, and that's the first thing that's jumping out about Roanoke here. No errors through these first, 2 minutes or so. Obviously, it's showing on the scoreboard. They've jumped ahead and taken the lead. First lead of the second half. Obviously, first lead since very early in the ball game. Roanoke's led for only a little over 3 minutes of this game. But, yeah, they're doing it with poise. They're doing it with patience. And right now they're doing it with consistency. So it's a good timeout by Coach Nichols to try and just slow that down. But hopefully also draw up some, just a quality play on the offensive side. Just something to take the lid off the basket, because the time just continues to tick. It hasn't changed. The last field goal was still at the 5:39 mark of the second quarter. That doesn't reset at the half, so Lynchburg just got to find a bucket, or if nothing else, just points of some kind. That might be at the line. We'll see what gets drawn up, but got to take the lid off the basket here.
22-5 run for Roanoke, and a situation where you saw Lauren Keel down low really just did a good job of isolating Darcy Ross, and when you can get those looks down low, again, we've talked about it all day, even with the men's game, that opens looks around the perimeter. Not necessarily that Roanoke is hoping to get those perimeter looks, but capable of doing so. And coming out of this huddle, I think right now is so crucial for Lynchburg, because yes, it is just a 5-point game, but if Roanoke keeps this run going, it could get a lot worse.
And Roanoke's not going to get rattled, right? This is a team, obviously we know they were good. They were good last year, but now they're another year experienced. They bring a ton of this team back. Experienced teams and experienced good teams, they don't get rattled with one half. Lynchburg's got to rise to the occasion here in the second and show off some of the added veteran leadership that they have now as opposed to last year.
Well, that's when it is certainly a positive to have Sarah Brandstatter and your team colors. Macy Mullins this time looking to get to the hoop. Movement still outside the perimeter. Nothing doing. Some tight perimeter defense from Roanoke as the shot clock is going to expire. Spainhour didn't know where she was going, and it's a traveling violation. Great defense by the Maroons on that possession.
Yeah, I think that the play may have actually been drawn up for a shot early in the shot clock when Mullins got it here in the near wing. Great closeout by DeJess to take that shot away. Then it wound up with Casey Kelly and time ticking down on the shot clock behind the three-point line. That's the point where you know, okay, the possession is sort of derailed a little bit. And credit to Lynchburg sticking with it, but Roanoke, great job defensively on that possession.
Keel trying to bully down low again, this time no good. Sarah Brandstatter on the move. Kicks out to Mullins, wide open, just couldn't hit. And Lynchburg gets the offensive rebound. Roanoke, a squad that typically capitalizes on those offensive boards, and this is a situation, you saw the Mullins shot just about wide open, maybe just a little rattled are these Hornets.
Yeah, but that was a great look, and Lynchburg and Mullins cannot afford for her to get discouraged. We know what her shot is like. We saw it in the first half. Just, if nothing else, just take it as a positive that you got the offensive rebound. You got a good look from deep. It didn't drop, but that's okay. You got to keep shooting. Now you're the team fighting back from behind, so keep drawing things up like that. Eventually they'll fall.
Ball movement on display, and Naru is called for the charge on the other end. Roanoke's fans, Roanoke's bench, not content to say the least, but call is made, and down low, what could have been a huge swing for Roanoke to potentially get an and one will be called the other way. You make the decision for yourselves.
I think Naru may have been slightly penalized there for just having the size advantage on the matchup. Obviously with Mullins getting back there, good job defensively to get in front of her and draw the charge. That's what you're taught to do. It really doesn't matter, what the opinion is after the fact. The official called what they called, and Lynchburg got itself an opportunity. Although before I was even able to finish my statement, the opportunity is over. So now approaching 10 minutes of Lynchburg basketball without a point.
Well, you take that free throw out of the equation. Obviously, Lynchburg still hasn't gotten to the line yet. Maybe an illustration of the strategy coming in. Obviously, you want to stop and pop, but you really got to find new ways. Brandstatter, could it be the one? No. Clips the rim, but another offensive rebound. Macy Mullins from downtown. And then the opposite of the first quarter, this time nothing is falling.
But again, like we said, that's okay. That's probably the best possession Lynchburg has had in the second half. You got two really good looks at it from three. I was really hoping Sarah Brandstatter would just go ahead and take that shot from three. That was a good look. I'm glad that she stepped into it and took it with some confidence. Like we said, you're probably not going to make, you shouldn't expect to make 9 threes in a half, right? You're overachieving there, and that's great. Like we said, it gave you a big boost in that first half, but just keep taking those shots. They will fall again. That's a great possession. You get the offensive rebound as well.
I know Sarah Brandstatter, one of those players on this team who does a phenomenal job at getting those second chance opportunities, getting boards, and as a point guard, we know that role is, in that term, used loosely for the other players on the team, but certainly a great thing in the arsenal as Madison Naru finishes on the other end. 7-point lead. Lynchburg still searching to get back. Macy Mullins, a step inside the three-point line, everything but the bucket. Rolled out, and an interesting decision there. Three was wide open, take a couple steps, maybe just try to get a different look.
Yeah, I think that boils down to confidence, Evan. I think first half, Macy's going to go ahead and take that shot. That's a great look, but you've seen two here in this third quarter not go your way. I think that was just a discouragement decision. You end up settling for the lowest, not the lowest percentage shot, but a shot that's widely considered to be the worst in basketball, the long two, when you had an open three. Just an interesting decision there from Mullins, and I think that just has to be a confidence thing.
Two of the biggest changes that Coach Nichols wanted to see this season for Lynchburg were defense and decision making, and we've seen some positives early in the season in both categories. You know that defense is so much a hustle stat, but certainly when you play these good teams, especially in the ODAC, you have to crack down, make sure every decision's a smart one. Shot clock low. Lauren Keel's gonna fire a three, long rebound, and DeJess has it. ISO through the lane, and looks like a late deflection. She tried to take it herself, but it will be off the Hornets.
Great hustle play by DeJess, because that was a good defensive possession for Lynchburg. You're weighing that shot clock all the way down, and then the person left with the hot potatoes, Lauren Keel, and although we saw her make a three in the first half, obviously she can. That's not necessarily where her bread and butter is, but you award the second opportunity. There's credit to DeJess.
Roanoke, a team that had 44 points in the paint last meeting with Lynchburg, and you can certainly tell what they want to get done on the offensive end. Reese Spainhour, another offensive rebound. So Lynchburg, despite not getting that field goal, still some second chance opportunities. Casey Kelly loses the ball going in, but Rose Sandy was on the line.
Sort of an unfortunate sequence of events there if you're a Roanoke fan. Rose Sandy able to shake it off and kind of laugh it off. She does a good job to take the ball away from Casey Kelly, but Lynchburg's going to benefit. She was just in the wrong position there. So, Lynchburg's got to take advantage here. I know I've said that several times, but they've been given some great opportunities, and the offense has looked a lot better these last couple possessions. I know points haven't materialized, but you're getting these opportunities. Got to take advantage.
Sam, sometimes just a step on the line is the possession where you can crack that run. Lynchburg looking to do so. 5 on the shot clock. Brandstatter, a little floater left short. Roanoke off to the races on the other side. Keel down low. Works, and the and one. You run, and good things can happen in transition, and Roanoke now a chance for a 10-point lead.
Yeah, I think on the offensive side, Brandstatter, good job getting to the basket, but I think she may have been looking for DeAndre Ross to come swooping in for an alley-oop there. Just left that little bit short. I think that might have been indecision, pass or take the shot herself. Just leaves it a good bit short, and that's going to get us our media timeout. And we get to it, Lynchburg scoreless the last 11:35, and Roanoke's going to be at the line trying to make it a 10-point lead on the other side.
Lynchburg is all about you, your ideas, and your goals.
Live and direct in Turner Gymnasium, 40-31 lead for Roanoke. And if you're just joining us, well, it has been a dry spell to say the least for Lynchburg, scoreless in the last 11 minutes and 32 seconds going back to that first half. So trying everything they can get as Lauren Keel unable to convert the old-fashioned three-point play. Offensive rebound by Sandy. She loses it, and now chance for Lynchburg to fire back. Olivia Harris into the lane. A little more aggression than what we've seen, still off the mark. Now Roanoke down the court. Gunter had a look, this time back outside. Seen a few looks trying to find that mid-range as Lauren Keel tries to get under, no good. Another offensive rebound. Roanoke getting all the looks that they desire. And finally, Olivia Harris able to corral. Sometimes dry spell like this, it gets difficult to even know, what a team should do to operate if the shots just aren't falling, regardless of the looks you get. Sometimes just a waiting game. Kelly on the perimeter. Down low to Spainhour. Swamped up, and here we go. The first free throws of the day, Sam Graham.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, the 2:59 mark of the third quarter. And it is interesting because Lynchburg has started to go into the paint, go down low a little more, especially in the second half. And we were still waiting on that first call to come, just waiting on it. The one that would draw free throws. Obviously, Roanoke 4 fouls here in the third quarter. But, yeah, this is just incredible. The first free throws of the game. I know I mentioned early on that Lynchburg's never going to take a lot of free throws just with the style of play. That's to be expected, but I don't think either of us expected that they'd be taking their first one again. Simple math, about 27 minutes into this ball game.
Spainhour, a 54% shooter from the line. And staying true to the percentage as Roanoke heads the other way. It's always interesting to just try and get in the head of coaches as Roanoke trying to go quick the other way, but you wonder what Coach Nichols is saying in the huddle when you're off the mark by that much, just trying to end the run. So many different things to look at.
Looked like Keel may have kicked that ball, but no call.
Macy Mullins slowing things down, and as a point guard in this situation, that's what you have to do, just find the bread and butter material. Still that 5-out offense, Lynchburg trying to find the right angle or the right pass.
Great decision by Mullins, because you got to remember, this game is fully within reach. I know that with it being a 26-6 run, it might not feel like that, but Lynchburg is nearly, it's 3-possession game. You don't have to be in a hurry every possession.
Sometimes it feels like it starts to drag, but as we've seen in other games, those runs can happen in a hurry. Casey Kelly couldn't get the shot off before the shot clock expired, so Roanoke chance to go the other way. So still Lynchburg pressing. Jacqueline DeJess really hasn't been phased going the other way for Roanoke.
Well, DeJess probably one of the best pure point guards in the conference. Lynchburg's got another one of them of their own, which of course Roanoke, embarrassment of riches a season ago, as they had Brandstetter and DeJess. DeJess really shining in Brandstedter's absence, and Sayre not on the floor right now for Lynchburg.
DeJess, a sophomore from Charlotte, North Carolina, and she has been sensational in just getting that role. We know that losing someone like Brandstetter and her experience can be a tough sight, and the bucket goes through, but it's going to be a charge on Casey Kelly.
Like the aggression, like the confidence, and that's one thing that I always love about Casey Kelly's game. She's never going to shy away from taking the shot. She's never going to shy away from inserting herself, especially down low, and she's a little bit undersized for that forward position she plays, but just a really tough mindset there. That's a pretty easy call, though, for the refs, and, it's a bummer if you're Kelly, because obviously you see that field goal go through the net, and you want to say, oh, we finally got it, and it gets taken away, but there you go. Turnover. Get the ball back.
Always an open window somewhere, right? And Lynchburg going to try and climb through. And, an interesting point that we heard earlier in the season, especially after that Marymount loss to open up. Coach Nichols talking about her squad. She says, I don't want to see any pouting. I want us to be a very steady demeanor team. And this is a situation. You've been tested. Everything in this third quarter has gone Roanoke's way. How can you continue to go out, have a little bit of a smile and a little strut in your stride? And Bree Spainhour might just have the answer.
Using that long stride to get to the basket in just a couple quick steps. First field goal for Lynchburg since the midway point of the second quarter. Let's see if they can go on a mini run here before the end of the third.
And Turner Gymnasium starting to liven up as Naru gets to the hoop, and a quick momentum stopper.
Heartbreaker for the Lynchburg defense. That was a good possession. Naru, just good players make good plays, right?
Seems like she's done that all season. That's why She has earned the talk as Lynchburg looking the other way. Sever that long two, but it converts. And hey, at this point, the Hornets will take anything they can get.
Yeah, and in Sever's defense, I'm not even sure if she knew that she had stepped inside the line. That was really close. Foot was on the line, so I don't think that was necessarily the same deal where she's trying to go inside the three-point line first. So, yeah, good shot. Sever can stroke it.
8-point lead for Roanoke. Shot clock off. They can have the final possession if they want it. Down low to Naru. Quick pass. Kirchner was open, but it's blocked down low by Spainhour. Deflection off the Maroons. Lynchburg has one final try.
This is where we talk about, we've said it twice already, the importance of that safety net. Despite a lot of things not going your way in this third quarter, Lynchburg's captured a tiny bit of momentum. They got the last shot here. They can draw to within as close as 5.
Spainhour's third block of the season. Lynchburg trying to get the final shot. It was off by Sever. And Casey Kelly goes to the floor, but maybe a little bit of positivity to end this third quarter. Lynchburg just couldn't quite find the bucket, but the run is over, and we are in store for a great final 10 minutes from Turner Gymnasium. Roanoke 44, Lynchburg 36. Fourth quarter on the other side.
Think a private education is too expensive? Think again. At the University of Lynchburg, you can get a personalized education for the cost of a state school. If you're commuting and you get our top scholarships, you could pay much less. And you get all that without the hassle of giant lecture halls. Our faculty know your name here and do more than just teach. You might even do research together and plan out your next career moves.
It's a brief stop at home on a 6-game span that features 5 road games. So Lynchburg enjoying the one at home before traveling once again. And on Code Red night, lots of energy, lots of adrenaline, but now you have to respond down 8 to Roanoke with the final quarter to play.
Lynchburg made a comeback against Bob Jones last time they were in this building. Offense really heated up in that fourth and final quarter. They're going to need something similar today. And that's a good start to travel going against Roanoke.
So many turnovers that have really dictated the headlines of this contest. Lynchburg with 22, Roanoke with 20. And honestly, might just be a question of who can protect the ball in these final 10 minutes. Kelly, misdirection inside. Sever trying to pass through. Reversal. Mullins open at the top of the key and just can't see it fall. Looks like a travel as Sever fell to the ground, or Brandstatter, and Roanoke will have possession.
Great start for Lynchburg. I know the threes aren't falling right now, but you couldn't script a better offensive possession though if you're Coach Nichols, and I love that coming out of the quarter break. The one thing you can't control is whether or not the shot goes in. Mullins is the one shooting it, and she's one of the best shooters on the team, led the team in three-pointers made a season ago. That's the part you can't control, which is frustrating, but you can control how you get there. And Lynchburg's done a way better job of that these last 5 or so minutes of game time.
Naru, an easy bucket. That's really the first time we've seen Lynchburg run that 1-3-1 press in Turner Gymnasium, but quick work for the Maroons to go the other way, and very risky to use different sets at this point of the game, because if you get blown up on a few quick possessions, that might be the point at which Roanoke can really take advantage. Brandstatter in the corner finally rattles one home.
Same play, Evan. That was the same play. Sever runs the baseline, gets some people out of position. They collapse down on her, try to force her out of bounds. Brandstatter open in the corner. She knocks it down. Big time play.
And when you have height that really likes to collapse down low, you can open up those options. And we know that while this team hasn't been able to shoot as well as they would have liked, Lynchburg still has those options. Any open shot's a good shot down the stretch.
That last foul against Casey Kelly will not draw free throws, but it was her 4th of the game. She's going to sit down. Bree Spainhour is going to come in for her.
We'll have to watch that if she re-enters this contest. You have a feeling Coach Nichols would like to utilize her aggression down the stretch. Great box out from Bree Spainhour.
But some great offense on the other side as well. Lynchburg doing a good job to collapse on Naru. She, is a unique threat with the way she can put the ball on the ground and create drives for herself, but then leaves the open shooter on the perimeter. Roanoke just misses the shot.
Macy Mullins loses to just still can't connect. And Mullins came down a little awkwardly on that ankle. Roanoke the other way as Keel just going to dish back outside, and Jacqueline DeJess taking her chance at a 3.
Yeah, definitely a bump there. I know the whistle's been a little short overall in this game today. Not an overwhelming amount of fouls in this game. 8 against Roanoke, obviously more going against Lynchburg 10. But, it's been a decently physical game. A lot of bumps here and there, so able to draw one there is Sever. That's just that knowledge of knowing somebody's right on your hip and, being able to feel it right there next to the out-of-bounds line.
Intercepted by Roanoke as they head the other way. Naru, nice attempt at a bounce pass there. Brandstatter got her foot on it. Wrong sport. Roanoke will keep it under the basket.
You know something about that other sport, though, Evan.
We've done a few calls here and there. Such a fun collegiate season and schedule. So we've had essentially soccer that led up to the first week of basketball, but now in the full swing of hoops as Lynchburg looking to try and retaliate. Down 7 into the lane, and a travel call.
Good break for Lynchburg. Ross overcommitted, trying to poke the ball away. Right idea, just execution wasn't quite there, trying to take it away before it got to Naru. But again, Roanoke gifting Lynchburg another possession. Hornets have had some good offensive sets, just got to make it pay on the finish.
Well, Sam, very good point. Seems like a lot of these opportunities have been gifted to this Lynchburg offense, just coming up with a few chances that they haven't been able to connect. And Roanoke once again just able to reset the offense. We haven't seen lots of Lynchburg makes where Roanoke is pressed high. Trying to get the patient look. Naru forced one inside as Spainhour fell. Foul will be called on Littlejohn.
Bree Odell Beckham Jr. Spainhour going up for it with one hand. I love it. Extra points for style there for Spainhour. Multifaceted athlete. We knew she could do it on the volleyball court. Let's get her on the football field as well. Great defensive possession there for Lynchburg. Made Naru have to really think about it when she caught it top of the key, and that sort of disjointed the whole possession. And Lynchburg able to take it away. A little bit of an unscripted play there made by Spainhour, but gets the job done nonetheless.
Spainhour certainly has come alive at the right time, coming back to this team. Her first start with Salisbury, that is for the season. We know that she started many games last year, but she has been a great contributor, and not just on that stat sheet, but she can find ways to make her presence known down low. Olivia Harris trying to turn the corner. Nice little move to get back. Lauren Keel corrals the rebound. Ball has gone all over the court. Nice use of spacing from Roanoke, and Keel, another layup, just left a little short.
Yeah, now a scoreless run of their own for Roanoke. Last field goal for them was back in the third quarter with, early in the fourth quarter, 9:19. So about 3 scoreless minutes now for the visitors as well.
Darcy Ross couldn't connect, and so once again, just seems like trading misses for misses at this point. And with 6 minutes to go, it seems like the clock is flying. Roanoke trying to find good looks. Naru again. She has had the ball in her hands multiple times today, and you can see the confidence that the Maroons have and are just not able to connect that time.
Back and forth we go. This is the time for Lynchburg. The door is open. You just got to shove it the rest of the way. If Lynchburg gets a couple of baskets, you probably control this game. And Sever, not going to find one much easier than that.
Talk about timing. The veteran presence just waiting to get the right look. Nice little fake, and now just a 5-point ball game. This gym starting to realize that this game isn't too far off, and I think Coach Flaherty knows it too, wants to talk it over, but we are going to stay right here in-house. So 5:26 to play. And Sam, we've seen lots of back and forth. It's hard to really diagnose those dry spells that we've seen. Roanoke scoreless for 3 minutes now. But what in these final minutes is going to dictate who ends up coming away with the victory?
So I'll kind of just break it down this way, right? So Lynchburg, when I believe it wound up being over 11 minutes that they didn't score a point. Obviously, that's not ideal. That's more than a quarter of scoreless basketball. And from an offensive perspective, obviously, like I said, that's not ideal. They're firmly in this game. They're down by 5 points. And I think we're totally remiss to not mention that the Lynchburg defense has done a really good job in the second half. I know in the first half especially there were a lot of unforced errors on the part of Roanoke that let things be a little closer and helped out the Lynchburg defense a little bit. They're doing most of it on their own here in the second half, and that's a big testament to growth for this team because, like you said earlier in the broadcast, that was a big focus in the offseason, and recruiting was shoring up the defensive side of the ball. We're kind of seeing it right now because if it wasn't for that, I mean, this game would be over. We wouldn't even be having this conversation with 5.5 minutes to go. Roanoke would probably be up by 15 points. Just they're not getting a lot of easy stuff. I can count probably, don't even need a full hand to count the good looks that Roanoke's gotten on offense in this fourth quarter.
Well, you know, Roanoke, too, through some of their wins this season, they have done it in dominant fashion. And so Lynchburg certainly giving them a test. You talked about the defense for Lynchburg as well. The offense, it just seems like there's always one of two things that has to happen. You either have to hit the three ball at a high rate or you have to activate that transition offense. And today was a 3 early. Can Lynchburg just try and change that pace down the stretch? Just over 5 minutes to play. Nice pass down low to the cutting Littlejohn, and finger in the air. It was a great assist as Littlejohn gets the gimme. 7-point lead now.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen without the pass, which was on an absolute dime. Might have been on a, well, I guess the dime is the smallest coin. I was going to say it might have been on a penny, but yeah, great feed inside. Macy Mullins answers.
That's what you need your top performers to do. Macy Mullins just comes out, and when you need a bucket, she can get it. Just got to create space, and especially if you're going to get those jump shots, make sure you have the passing beforehand. Keel in the short corner, no good. Now Lynchburg can run as Olivia Harris. Colliding to the basket, a little up and under, and a beautiful move, poetry in motion to make it a one-possession ball game.
Internally, that whole way down the floor, the lane was there, just hoping, praying Olivia Harris just attack it, and that's exactly what she did. Great take on the fast break, some fast break points for Lynchburg. It is a one-possession game.
Relentless take, suddenly you're on the edge of your seat. And Roanoke just trying to regain some of that composure. Sandy down low, trying to get past Sever. It was a clean look. Second chance doesn't go. Lynchburg has a chance to tie it. Transition, Sever just couldn't come up with it. That was great timing from El Gunter. We'll have a foul called, shove in the back, and Roanoke will keep possession as Madison Naru comes back in along with Sarah Brandstatter for Lynchburg. Seems like two of the players this game who have just been crucial to their team's success.
Yeah, went for the 50-50 ball down the field there. Court. Looked like football on the pass there from Olivia Harris. Yeah, you know, it's the right idea. You're trying to push it down the floor. You have the momentum. You're feeling the energy of the game. I understand it. It's not a high percentage pass, but I like the ambition.
Certainly a good look, as is the shot from Rose Sandy. She's just one of those players, even if it doesn't show up in the stat sheet. Big moment equals a big play as Macy Mullins has the ball stripped away, and Roanoke will regain possession.
Cheerleading squad's got to keep their wits about them here, Evan. They've been tested a couple times across our pair of games today.
This gym isn't that large. You don't have seats behind the basket, obviously, and so trying to pack it in. This gym can get really loud in crunch time. Might we see one of those finishes today? Olivia Harris, active hands, looking for the pass up to Macy Mullins, just forced it.
Pass was a second too late. Mullins had the jump on her defender. Just that little hitch before Olivia Harris let it go. That was all it took. Mullins gonna get her get back.
Chance for the easy layup. There's a foul called. You know, Brooke Kaysen might have been lucky diving for that basketball. That could have been called a foul. But either way, Macy Mullins out in transition. She's going to have two shots. And You talk about clutch time, this is when it really starts to matter.
Well, the whistles have been cautious tonight and have especially tightened up as we've gotten into this fourth quarter, which, I mean, you kind of like that. And if you're the players right now, you know what you're going to get. It's been consistent for the most part throughout the game. They're kind of just letting them play, and it's even both sides, so I got no problem with it.
Mullins rims in the first. Also should note that number 20, Casey Kelly, back in the game. 4 fouls. Really the only player in foul trouble. Spainhour has 3. As well as Kate Littlejohn and Lauren Keel for Roanoke. 1 possession ball game again. Lynchburg has gotten it back to this point. Can they eclipse and potentially tie it up?
This place will erupt with a defensive stop. This is the most energy we've had in this gym all day.
The Jess inserts it to Sandy. Patient offense, looking to get past Kelly. Gunter in the lane, pops up, no good. Another chance for Lynchburg.
Decent portion of the crowd's on their feet. Huge offensive possession here for Lynchburg.
No such thing as being too patient. Obviously, you do want to have a little bit of shot clock to work with. Mullins, cross court to Brandstatter. Open for Kaysen, no good. That was the chance. And rebound corralled to Jess, trying to move up the floor, and that's going to be body check on Breeze Spainhour. That's going to be her 4th.
Yeah, it's a tough one to pick up there. Spainhour, somebody you want to have in there. Her presence has been felt, I think, down low in the second half. In particular, she's been on the floor for the majority of it. That's a frustration foul, and I get it. You know, you had a good look for 3. You're that close to tying the game up here with 2 minutes to go, but you just got to be careful throwing your body around here late in the game.
Well, now you have 2 members of your front court in foul trouble. Lauren Keel might have sensed it as she gets the easy one down low.
It's exactly what you do if you're Roanoke. Go straight inside, great possession.
Lynchburg still has time to operate. 1:50 left on the clock, but certainly can't afford too many misses. Macy Mullins had it blocked away. How about Kate Littlejohn? Moving the other way. Nobody's going to pick her up. Spainhour trying to get the rebound. Macy Mullins corrals, and it's another layup that Roanoke leaves short. Now here is Brandstatter. Oh, and it's a charge. It's heading the other way.
Evan, I think we got some tired legs in here late in the game. Both of these teams, I mean, even Roanoke, who we know what their bench can do, they haven't really gone into it in a big way. Most of the people that have come off the sidelines today, I mean, you look at Ingrid Moraes, she came in for just 2 minutes. Kulikowski, 5. Elle Gunter leads the bench in minutes out here. Her and Kirchner at 12 apiece. Rice, 2. Littlejohn, you know, she's had a pretty good contribution but came out of the starting lineup. So neither of these teams have given a ton of minutes to their bench. It's a high-profile game. Both teams really want to win it, and they're relying on their starters. And I get that, but now we're late in the game, and either team has been clawing their way back into the game at any point. I just think they're tired.
It's another rather easy foul from Sarah Brandstatter. Madison Naru has now played 32 minutes of this contest, and something that we talk about with teams with depth, you don't normally have players in that starting lineup who are going for extended minutes, but we know she's going to be in line for 33 or 34 if this game is kept in regulation. Free throws for Parker Childress. And first one, nothing but net.
Yeah, Lynchburg just going to have to find their legs here. Obviously, that comes into a big way when you're a three-point shooting team. Gets hard. That line looks a lot further away when the legs are heavy. You're going to have to rely on that strength and conditioning here down the stretch because now you need some threes.
Also can get to the line and try that bailout if needed. 3 of 4 from the line here. Spainhour, she does take the advice. Sometimes they might listen to us, but Spainhour gets to the rack. 2 shots upcoming.
No, great advice by you. You know, part of the way I'm thinking too is with Lynchburg being by nature a three-point shooting team, but you know, when you have a take like that, Spainhour kind of escapes out of the backcourt and then gets downhill. You know, roll it all the way down to the basket.
Well, you have to make the free ones, and Spainhour misses the front end. This is a situation where, yeah, you might have to rely on that three-point shooting if Spainhour can't connect here. Still a 7-point ball game. Roanoke will try and put the icing on the cake on the other end. It's all aggression for Lynchburg now. Full court pressure.
Had some miscues from Roanoke. They've cropped back up a little bit in this fourth quarter. You're hoping for one or two unplanned miscues down the stretch. Didn't get one there, and now just a minute to play.
Keel the connection to Sandy, and Lynchburg lost it again. Bench saying slow down and hold it. That's what your veterans do, but Sandy just let go. Coach Flaherty can't believe it. Brandstatter, an easy layup on the other end, and that is a great time for a timeout.
Evan, you talk about unscripted plays. The game was over. You had the ball with an 8-point lead. You could run it, I mean, darn near less than 40 seconds to go in the game and just gave it away to Brandstatter. Well, she isn't going to miss a layup in transition. I mean, if you're Lynchburg, you're elated, but just sort of a lack of awareness there for Roanoke.
Well, a situation where maybe you're trying to avoid whether it's a double dribble or the travel, not sure how many steps you've taken, and just let go a little too early. Coach Flaherty was walking down the scorer's table almost as if she was going to finish that layup on the other end. But 6-point lead, Roanoke still comfortable. Lynchburg, you definitely have to get this stop here and in a hurry.
It's a completely different mindset now, though. I mean, Roanoke had an opportunity to take its time, potentially push this thing out to 10 points, maybe even 11, or make Lynchburg burn a foul. At the very least, there was going to be very little time left for Lynchburg and likely more than 3 possessions to try and get back into the game. Now it's 2, and you still have 45 seconds left.
Obviously, a full 30 on the shot clock. Will be interesting to see what Coach Nichols goes with if Roanoke keeps possession. Do you foul or do you let this one play out? To Jess. Lots of heavy pressure.
At this point, you cannot foul. You just got to let it play out. Go for the steal, but don't.
Hold that thought, Sam Graham.
Yeah, that always intrigues me. Just in watching basketball, it is a tough decision to make. 45 seconds down, 2 possessions. Obviously, first things first, you go for the steal. In my opinion, it feels like once that ball crosses midcourt, you got to give the foul, and maybe that's what Brandstatter was trying to do on the far side, but you don't draw the whistle until the shot clock is halfway gone, and now you only have 31 seconds to work with.
Seen that situation a few times in college basketball early in the season, just from teams across D1 or D3 levels where you waste a little bit of that shot clock, then you're really taking a chance. And now Roanoke making both. It's an 8-point ball game, and Bree Spainhour just found out with 6 points. It's going to be a timeout called by Coach Nichols, so the huddles will commence for a quick break. We'll keep it right here. And obviously Lynchburg right now looking like they're going to fall in this contest, but it has been a very up and down battle to say the least. The way that Lynchburg came out and shot the 3-ball elevated their performance, just haven't finished with the energy they needed.
Game of runs would be an understatement. Yeah, Lynchburg got out really hot. Roanoke, I think, was a little bit caught off guard, but a veteran team. They did a great job battling back, never felt like they were rushing, never felt like they were pressing. They just kind of chipped away at it, and obviously defensively is where it started for Roanoke. And then for Lynchburg to really get back into the game, it also started on the defensive end, and credit to Lynchburg for doing that. Obviously getting out hot, things were coming easy, the threes were falling, and then kind of get that second shove. The guy you just pushed down got back up and pushed you back. How do you respond to that part? And Lynchburg, I think, did so in a pretty good way. Now you're up against it a little bit. 31 seconds to go. Down by 8, 3-possession game. You're going to need a little bit of help from your opponent. First things first, though, is taking care of business on offense. Don't turn the ball over. Get the best look at 3 you can, but it's kind of got to be threes at this point.
Desperation sign for Lynchburg. They have a tough week in the ODAC, to say the least. After this contest, traveling to Washington and Lee on Saturday. When Washington and Lee, ODAC champs last year, picked first in the preseason poll this year. Brandstatter can't waste much time. Just trying to get that 3. Kaysen, little pocket of space, rims out off Kelly, and looking very good for the Maroons.
Yeah, great job defensively by Roanoke that played drawn up for Macy Mullins on the near wing. That's a sweet spot for her. Roanoke shadowing her the whole way. She was not able to get that shot off cleanly. And then pretty good improvisation to give the dribble handoff and give a pretty good look there for Kaysen. But again, at that point, too, a lot of times come off the clock. So 17 seconds to go. Roanoke at the line. A couple of makes here. Probably ice it, but even if that's not the case, just probably not enough time here for Lynchburg.
17 seconds to go. That little dribble handoff honestly could have been made popular by Villanova's shot back in the national championship. You see that a lot from offenses, just trying to get that little pocket, and unsuccessful on Lynchburg's end.
Once again, Turner Gymnasium goes eerily quiet while the visiting team is shooting free throws.
Situation that it has just been very up and down, not just this game, but the entire season. Can Lynchburg respond from here? It'll be a question they have to answer, but the Maroons will come away with the victory in the Hill City. So our doubleheader concludes. The men's team getting it done against Randolph, and women's squad just falling short 60-52 here against a very good Roanoke squad. And it was certainly scrappy, lots of turnovers, not necessarily either squad's best game, but this is still a good battle. Saw a lot of hustles today.
Yeah, I mean, we've covered most of the bases on this game today. It was one that played out very quickly, but also in a way played out very slowly. You know, you could just kind of see the trends developing throughout the game. Like I said a moment ago, credit to Lynchburg battling back. I'm not sure if the team last year, just with its youth and inexperience, is able to do that and make this interesting coming down the stretch, because they really did make it a game all the way into the final minute. And like I just said, credit to them for that. But at the end of the day, all the credit for Roanoke. Just stayed poised throughout, stayed calm, collected. Like we said, tough start for them. The threes were falling, the energy was hopping in this gym, and they just came back out in the second quarter and just slowly chipped away at it, took the lead, never looked back.
Well, those are the types of games that'll take just a little bit of time to really get used to it and move forward, but it was a very nice battle. Sarah Brandstatter against her former team, Lynchburg, just falling short. As we look at the stat sheet, some of the headlines: Madison Naru, 12 points for Roanoke, but the leading scorer was Rose Sandy and Kate Littlejohn, 13 apiece. And you talk about presence, you talk about veterans who can come out and get it done. Rose Sandy just really had a good hold on this game, and it seemed like Roanoke knew what they were doing down the stretch.
Absolutely. I couldn't say it a whole lot better myself. I think as a measuring stick, that's not bad if you're Lynchburg. This is a team that, you know, played out a similar way last year in the first half. Lynchburg didn't get out to quite the same hot start it did today, but did go up early in those early minutes, hung right with Roanoke for a half, and then kind of let the game get away from them in the second half. Today, there was a few moments where that could have happened, and Lynchburg didn't let it. The final score only separates these two teams by 8. Roanoke just consistently made more plays, but I do think that there's definitely some improvement on the Lynchburg side of things.
Well, it will be interesting to watch the process moving forward as we will get set to let you go. 29 turnovers, just a little too many to overcome as Lynchburg falls to Roanoke 60-52. So on behalf of Sam Graham and our entire LHSN squad, so thankful for our director Kyle Ayers, I'm Evan Gates saying so long from the Hill City.